Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. This is a video for Regents Review, due now number 5, and today's topic will be monomials and polynomials and all kind of factoring. So it's going to be a whole bunch. I'm going to be writing all the notes as I go, so just make sure you follow along and make sure that you post all these pages on Google Classroom for me so that you get credit for this classwork. All right, here we go. So number 1 is basically just combining like terms. So for this, you want to add the coefficients. And then you want to keep the exponents the same. Keep the exponents the same. So I have 7pq and negative 9pq and 8qr and negative 8qr. Those obviously cross out, and that gives us negative 2pq. All right, number 2. This is basically the same thing as this. It's just adding coefficients, keeping exponents the same. Some of you would like to write the like terms underneath one another. So this whole entire trinomial under the second one. Like this, 5x squared, 9x plus 3, and then 4x squared, 4x, and negative 12. It's completely up to you. Some of you just like to add like this. So 5x squared and 4x squared, we'll just put it right here, is going to be 9x squared, negative 9x, and positive 4x is going to be negative 5x, and a positive 3 and a negative 12 is going to be negative 9. So that should be choice C. Same answers if you did it that way. All right, number 3, this is always the one that's a little bit more tricky. They're always going to give you subtraction over an addition because it's just trickier. So for this, you want to distribute the negative. That's the Common Core way. Distribute the negative. And then the other way is skip, switch, change. Skip, switch, change. So I'll show you both. All right, so I'm not going to have a lot of room, but I'll try to here. So what you're distributing is this imaginary negative 1, okay, and that's going to be distributed to all 3 of those terms. Let me zoom in so you can see. So I'm going to write them down. So I get 3x squared minus 4xy plus 7y squared, and then now do this. So negative 7x squared, positive 6xy, and a positive 3y squared. And then you just combine like terms. Let's see, what do we have? We have 3x squared and negative 7x squared. That's going to give us a negative 4x squared, a negative 4xy, and a positive 6xy. That's going to be plus 2xy. And then 7y squared and 3y squared is going to give us 10y squared, which matches D. Now, the other way, the skip, switch, change way, is when you write the trinomials one on top of the other. Okay, so you're lining up those like terms. And then the skip, switch, change is skip the top, switch this, and then change each of the 3 individual terms. And see, like that becomes negative, positive, positive. So you have the same exact answer. So it's really up to you. All right, number 4, dividing. So for this one, you want to divide the coefficients, and you want to subtract the exponents. Okay, so for me, I always like to separate them. That's how I taught it in class because it's just easier for my brain that way. So 7 divided by 1 is 7. A is crossed out. Subtract the exponents, I get B. 5 divided by 1 is 5. It's 2 minus 1 is 1, and the B's cross out, so 7B minus 5A. All right, number 5, same exact thing. It's another division question. So again, I'm just going to write it over. So I write each of the terms in the numerator over the individual denominator. All right, so it's negative 2x squared. That's 2 negatives, so it's a positive 3. X squared over x is x. And then positive 4 divided by negative 4 is actually a negative 1, and the x is crossed out. So be careful. You have to have that last negative 1 there. If you start with a trinomial, you have to end with a trinomial. If you start with a binomial on top, you have to end with a binomial. All right, number 6. So we're just going to distribute this question. And distribute just basically means multiply the coefficients, and you want to add the exponents. So you're going to multiply the coefficients, add the exponents. So 5 times 2 is 10. X to the third times x to the fourth is x to the seventh. So that one's done. And that gives us negative 5x to the 6th. And that gives us positive 15x to the third. So that looks like it is choice B. All right, 7, same as above. So we're going to distribute. So 6 times 4 is 24. X to the third times x to the fourth is x to the 7th. Y to the second times nothing. You just bring over the y to the second. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. that's x4, and that's y3. So 24 x to the 7th, y to the 2nd, minus 18 x to the 4th, y to the 3rd. All right, next page. Sorry, Roxy's barking in the background. All right, number 8. So now we're going to just do, what are we doing? Oh, so we're just doing regular multiplying. So again, that's multiply the, multiply the coefficients, add exponents. And the most important thing is you do not want to distribute. Distribution only works when you have like a binomial or higher in the parentheses. This is just straight up multiplying. So no arrows, no nothing, just multiply. So multiply all the coefficients, which technically that's 1. So -2 times 3 times -1 is +6. And then do each letter separately. So r squared, r, and r is r to the 4th. And then you have s, s, and s to the 3rd. So 3 plus 1 plus 1. So s to the 5th. So just be careful. Don't mix up your distribution and your regular multiplication. All right, quotient. We did that before. Okay. Oh, I didn't really highlight any of the important words over here, but sorry. And this one was quotients. So important was simplify, quotients, and product. All right, quotient again was divide the coefficients and subtract the exponents. So 20 divided by -4 is -5. And those, oh, okay. So all the rest of that crosses out. All right, number 10. So we are going to factors. All right, so now we're going to go to factoring. And because this is 2x squared, this one's going to be tricky try. Okay, and I know I taught you the new grouping way, so you're more than welcome to do the grouping way. I'm going to stick with tricky trinomials. This must simplify the binomials. Okay, up to you if you want to continue with the other way though. All right, so tricky try, 2x and 2x. So one parenthesis here, one parenthesis here. 2 times 15 is 30. I dropped down the first sign. Negative times positive is a negative. So two numbers that multiply to 30 and add to -13. Remember, you do have that trick in the calculator. You could do y equals 30 divided by x. That's the trick. And what that's going to do is get you the factors. So y equals, clear all this out. Clear, clear, clear. And 30 divided by x. We're going to go to the table, and any numbers next to each other, any whole numbers, don't ignore the decimals. Those are going to be your factors. So what's going to get us should be 3 and 10. 3 and 10. So -10, -3. And then don't forget to simplify those binomials. Because if you did 2x times 2x, you're not going to get 2x squared. You're going to get 4x squared. So that's part of the trick. Remember, you're multiplying by 2 here, but then you're essentially getting rid of that 2 by dividing here. So we're kind of like manipulating the question to get the answer, which is choice A, but not actually changing anything. All right, number 11, what are we doing here? We're just simplifying. So to me, this just looks like, yeah, just kind of like triple distribution, I guess. So it's just multiply. So multiply the coefficients, add the exponents. So you can think of this as triple distribution if you would like. Okay, so the 2x squared is going to go, 3x is going to go to them, and then 4x. All right, so 2x squared times 2x is 4x to the 3rd. Then we're going to have positive 10x squared. Okay, so that one's done. So 3x times 2x is what? 6x squared. Then 15x. All right, that one's done. Then -8x, and then -20. I think that's right. 6 squared, 15x, -8. Yeah, I think that looks good. All right, so then combine like terms. Combine those. And you get 4x to the 3rd plus 16x squared plus 7x, and then -20, which is choice C. All right, so these are all double distributes. So double distributes. I think the next 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Okay, so all double distributes. That's for 12 to 15, and that's really essentially just multiplying. You're just multiplying, 4 times, I guess, technically. So multiply the coefficients, and then add the exponents. All right, here we go. So start with the z, first term. So z times z, and z times -1. That's z squared minus 1z. That's done. Now do -7 times z, -1 times 1. That's -7z plus 7. So you're going to combine your z's. You're going to get z squared minus 8z plus 7. Okay. Number 13, I want to switch things up a little bit, even though the directions don't say it. I want to just remind you how to do the box method just in case, okay? Just in case. Okay, so we make our 4 squares. I put y and a positive 3 up here, 5y and plus y here, and then we're going to multiply. So 5y times y is 5y squared. 5y times 3 is 15y. 1 times y is 1y. 1 times 3 is 3. So this is actually another way that I taught you that you were able to double distribute. And some of you actually liked this way better. So now copy the 4 terms. And when I taught it to you, I always had you copy it in descending power order. So it's just easier for you to get the final answer. So 5y squared plus 16y plus 3. So if you were to double distribute, you would have gotten the same exact answers, but I just wanted you to try the box method instead. So again, this is double distribution, multiply the coefficients, add the exponents. All right, 14. So let's do this. 13 times 13 is 169. That's going to give us negative 26x, another negative 26x, and a positive 4x squared. So now this one's pretty good because you want to make sure that when you combine your like terms, you're also writing it in standard form. So must be in DPO, descending power order. Okay, descending power order. Don't forget. So I'm going to put this term first because that's the highest exponent. I'm going to combine these and those go second. I'm going to put that one last. So make sure. All right, then you got 15. I'm going to highlight 15 because this is the one that I'm going to put on a lot of my tests and the Regents loves. You have to take this and you have to know that you must write twice, okay? You have to write this twice. So 3x plus y and 3x plus y, all right? And then you're going to do your double distribution, okay? But you have to write it twice. You can't just take 3x and square and then y squared. That is not what you are doing. All right, so 9x squared, 3xy, 3xy again, and y squared. So 9x squared, 6xy, and y squared. Remember, when I taught you, previously, way in the beginning of the year, when you have different letters, so you don't just have one, you have x's and y's, you don't have to really worry about the descending power order. That kind of goes out the window. It's only when you have one term, like one variable, like y or z or x, something like that. When you have multiple, that goes out the window. All right, so now we're going to go jump back to factoring, and this is going to be our DOPS. Remember, that's the difference of perfect squares, and difference means subtraction. And you can kind of, this is DOPS because 1, you see a binomial, okay? 2, you have the subtraction, and 3, you have the perfect squares. So what you're creating, remember, you're creating conjugates. I don't know if you remember that word, conjugates. So that means the same exact binomial is 1 plus 1 minus. So the square root of y squared, so basically you're taking the square root. Square root of y squared is y. 1 plus 1 minus square root of 25 is 5. So that is choice A. All right, 2 pages down, 1 to go. All right, so this again is going to be another DOPS, okay, the difference of perfect squares. And I guess this one I'll actually write down the notes. So this is going to be take the square root of each term, and then you can have 1 plus and 1 minus. And again, what you're making is basically conjugates, okay? And again, these are both perfect squares. You have that subtraction, that's why it's difference. Both perfect squares, and it's a binomial. So the square root of 8 is 9. So you have 9 plus 9 minus. The order doesn't matter, you can have minus and plus because multiplication is commutative. Square root of 4x squared is 2x. And don't forget, you can always double distribute to see if you got the answer right. All right, 18, so we're continuing with the factoring. I don't really have a lot of room here, so I'll write it on one of the next ones. But this is GCMF factoring, okay? Most important thing is you don't show the division, okay? This is not simplifying. This is GCMF. All right, and I guess I am writing it here. GCMF, to get it, is the biggest number and the smallest exponents. Biggest number, smallest exponent. Most important thing, don't show the division, okay? You're not dividing, you are technically just simplifying. Okay, well, actually, no, that's not even true. It's not simplifying, you're factoring. That's very different. All right, 6 and 21. Greatest common factor, 3. x to the third and x. How many x's do they have in common? How many pairs can you make? That would be x. So the biggest number, smallest exponent. So what's smaller, 3 or 1? 1, and that's why I chose that. So 6x to the third divided by 3x squared would be 2x. 6x to the third divided by 3x would be 2x squared, and 21x divided by 3x would be 7. So that is choice D. All right, number 19 is another GCF. Okay, it's not a trinomial. They're not perfect squares, so you know it's GCF. And always start with GCF first. So 30 and 15, the biggest number is 15, and this would be y because you're taking the smallest. So those divided by one another is 2. That divided is 3y squared. 15y, 2, no, not 3y squared, because that is 15. So 15 divided by 15 is 1. Sorry, so 2 plus y squared. There we go. All right, so we have another one. This one is going to be your toughest one. And that's only because of the first thing, -12 and -20. You should have a -4. See how they're both negatives? They're both negatives. Definitely pull out that negative. So t squared and t would be t. V squared and v would be v. Again, I'm choosing the biggest number, smallest exponent. That's how I figured this out. All right, if we divide, we get 3 TV. Oh, TV. And then positive 5 t squared out v. Okay, so that is it. So biggest number, smallest exponent, that's how we do GCF. 21, respect in factored form. Okay, so again, you see a binomial, so it's definitely not trinomial factoring. No common terms. You see that you'll have all perfect squares, so you know this is going to be your DOPS. Okay, you know you're going to make conjugates. Square root of 4, square root of a squared, that goes here and here. Square root of 9, square root of b squared, and that goes here. And as simple as that. All right, couple more. Hope you guys are doing okay, and hopefully this review is kind of helping you remember how to do everything. All right, now we're going to go to what I call MAMS factoring. I totally made that up myself. So MAMS is multiply, add, and multiply, and S stands for start. So you're multiplying to x squared, you're adding to 7, and you're multiplying for 12, and you're starting here. So you're starting with what numbers multiply to 12. All right, so this is your trinomial factoring. So you start with what multiplies to 12. So 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. And then it's kind of like guessing and checking. So these are like your guesses. And then you're checking to what adds to 7. So 1 plus 12, no good. 2 plus 6, no good. 3 plus 4, we have a winner. And that's how you figure it out. So it'll be positive 3 in one and positive 4 in the other. All right, number 5. What are the this is a tough one. Oh, this is a really tough one. I guess that's why it's almost at the end. All right, so because this has a 5, this has to be tricky try. Anything greater than a 1x squared is a tricky try. So, and be careful, you got a y squared down there too. Oh, this is tough. Okay, so 5x, 5x, and 5x. Let's see, and then we're going to do 5 times -8. And that's going to be -40. And don't forget that y squared. Okay, we've done ones like this in class, I promise. So what multiplies to -40 and adds to 6? Again, don't forget, if you need to, you have that little trick, y equals, and you would go to 40 divided, well, actually, technically put in -40. -40 divided by x, and then go to your table, and we're looking for ones that add to, what am I adding to? Adding to 6, adding to positive 6. So here I know that's going to give me a -6, so I know it's just the opposite. I know it's -4 and positive 10. That'll get me that positive 6. So positive 10, -4. Now, usually you just write the numbers, but because of that y squared, you got to add on that extra y, so be really super careful. So here we multiply by 5. Here we're dividing by 5, by simplifying. So you're not really changing the problem. You're just kind of manipulating it as you go. But then we're kind of bringing it back to normal. So this is choice A. All right, 2 more. Factored completely. Oh, good way to end. Factor completely. Remember, this means factor twice. Okay, factor twice. And the order you usually look for is GCMF first. And then you want to go try or DOPS second. Okay, so 9x squared plus 36x plus 36. All right, so GCF, they all have a 9 in common. That's going to give me x squared, 4x, and 4. Remember, do not show that division ever. And then what am I doing? Because I'm just doing regular MAMS. So ma'ams. By the way, when you go to high school, just call it trinomial factoring because they're going to look at you weird if you say ma'ams. Then they actually get to know that you had me. All right, so what multiplies 4 and adds to 4? That's, oh, I guess it's got to be 2. Okay. Oh, but looky here. You know the Regents loves to give questions like this, and you know they're never going to write it like that, okay? You know how they're going to write this. They're going to write x plus 2 squared if it's multiple choice, which it is, and there you go. So definitely make sure you know how to do that. All right, last but not least, again, factor completely. That means factor twice. So let's see, you'll have a 3 in common. So x squared, so it'll be GCF first. Then you have plus 5x and then minus 14. And again, just regular, actually, let's call it trinomial, so the high school people don't get mad at me. X and x, so you want to multiply to negative 14. Oh, actually, let's do the trick. We forgot to do the trick. So bring down the plus. Positive times a negative is a negative, so now we know it's different signs. It's going to be plus 7 minus 2, and that is it. All right, so that was do now number 5. It was all your monomials and polynomials and factoring, so it was a ton. Make sure you post all these on Google Classroom so you get credit for the classwork. And if you have any questions at all, please reach out. But I hope these do nows are helping you. All right, have a great day.